I'm beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Hey, welcome to another episode. If you do enjoy this video, consider giving it a like, as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. Last time we were playing as a kitty cat, and this time we're playing some baseball. Game number 40, Power League 64. Released exclusively in Japan in 1997, this game was both developed and published by Hudson Soft. Got another one of these sports games here, and this time it's baseball. But we're not playing in the MLB, this is the NPB, or the Nippon Professional Baseball. The sport's pretty popular over there, being widely successful with many professional and minor league players and many fans coming to watch. I guess if you're a baseball fanatic and don't get enough of it with the major leagues in the US, consider checking out the NPB. When I first booted up the game, I noticed none of the players have faces, which that's super creepy. After the opening cutscene, I was greeted with the most amazing sight. The menus were in English. Well, at least this main one was. The rest of the game was unfortunately in Japanese, but hey, I'll take it. The first thing I did was check out the Home Run Derby mode. It's basically just a way to practice batting with easy to hit pitches. This game has no dedicated single player mode, so what we do in sports games is we just beat the championship match in the easiest way possible. This game has a pennant mode, which is a 135 game long season. But thankfully, the devs were thinking of this challenge in the future, and they included a mini pennant mode where you only play 10 games instead. Otherwise, this game would literally take hundreds of hours. First thing to do is choose our team. I had no idea who any of these were, so I just picked a cool logo, the big H. I'm pretty sure this is the Hanshin Tigers, but also not too sure. For the game itself, the devs seem to try to go for realistic graphics and animations. These games are really nice when they first come out, but if you play them later on like I am, you can see how poorly done they are compared to modern games. Realistic sports games, they don't age well. The pitching controls, they're a bit strange. You aim your pitch with the joystick and press A to pitch, and then you can kind of curve the ball after it's thrown by pressing the joystick when the ball's in midair. But this was weird and I never really used it. You can also press B to throw an alternative pitch, but it was just the same for me. Fielding, it's pretty standard. The game will have you control whoever's closest to the ball and you run to catch it, and you can choose to throw one of the 4 bases. Anyway, this first game, it was going horribly. The other team got a 3-run home run in the first inning. It shows like a little celebration animation whenever someone gets a home run, which it feels great if it's you, but it makes you feel awful when it's the other team. I was down 3-0 at the top of the first inning. Batting is a bit tough. It shows no indicator as to where the pitch is going, so you have to judge yourself, similar to a real batter. Then you push the joystick towards the direction the ball's going, press A to swing with the right timing. I really sucked at it at first. This game was going miserably, and I was losing it every turn. I ended up just quitting out of the game and starting over. I also decided to switch teams because naturally I blame my team rather than my own gameplay. I went with the Chiba Lot Marines this time. This game, it was going quite well. I was getting some hits and had the bases loaded in the first inning, and I got yet another base hit, getting the first run scored in the game. It felt good because I was so bad in that first match. The way the fielding works seems good in theory, but sometimes the person who's mathematically closest to the ball isn't the most intuitive choice. Like here, I wanted to control the shortstop, but I guess the third baseman was a tiny bit closer, so I was controlling him, and it made me run the wrong way. This caused an easy ground ball to get through to the outfield. I had enough, so I reset once again and looked more in depth at the options the game had. Turns out there's an option to have fielding set to automatic. This lets the CPU handle the fielding for you so that you don't have to deal with the awkward player selection the game gives. I would still be in control of all the batting, pitching, base running, and throwing. I guess the devs knew that the fielding felt awkward, so they threw this option in, thankfully. This time, the game, it was pretty boring up until the 7th inning. The other team got a bunch of base hits to go up 1-0, but then it was my turn to bat, and that was when I finally got a home run myself. Yes! Yes! Let's go, baby! The home run! Oh man, it felt so good. Like, it's just so satisfying seeing the ball go that far, and I get to watch the celebration animation being happy. It was still tied at 1-1 going into the ninth inning. Then in the top of the ninth, I had a deep drive to left field, sending the runner on second home, putting me up 2-1. After 3 outs, it was in my hands. I just had to not let them score and I'd win this first match. They got a base hit, but then on the next pitch, they decided to try to steal second, which is really easy to stop them from doing. 1 out. Then they got another base hit. The next batter hit a drive to center field, but the runner on first just sat there for some reason. Out number 2. After one more base hit, I struck the next batter out to finish them off and take the first game in the league 2-1. Man, it felt really good to get a win after all those struggles before. Things were looking up. The next game, it wasn't too eventful. It was tied up 2-2 going into the ninth inning when no one scored. In baseball, the way they handle tie games is just go to extra innings, so into the 10th, no score. 11th inning, no score. Then even in the 12th inning, still no score. In American baseball, it would just keep going indefinitely, but apparently in the NPB it stops after 12 innings, so we just ended the game in a tie. Not too bad. Game 3 was against the Kintetsu Buffaloes. It wasn't anything special, we won 2-0. That's how most of these sports games go, you know? Playing against this computer results in very similar matches because they play about the same every time. Game 4 was also against them. I guess I should mention, the way the mini pennant works is you play against each team in your division twice in a row. We won this one 4-0, pretty easy. Game 5 was against the Saitama Saibu Lions. Not gonna lie, their blue uniforms, they look pretty sick. It was all tied up going into the 9th and then into extra innings. We held them off in the 10th, then the 11th inning. On my very first bat in the 11th, the most hype play in all of baseball occurred, the walk-off home run. Let's go! Walk-off homer. Look at the picture. This is equivalent to like a buzzer beater in basketball or a last minute goal in soccer, you know, like you can't beat it. It's just such a hype way to finish the game off. The pitcher was like in shambles, like look at him. It's kind of hilarious they put that animation in. Game 6 went pretty smooth, we won 3-0. Guess I should talk about the music in this game. It plays the same music in every game throughout the entire match. Like it just sounds like some sort of military marching song or something like that. It's really weird. It's not necessarily a bad song, just it starts to drive you nuts when you hear it for so many hours straight. Then there's sort of a commentator. He doesn't really say anything other than strike, ball, auto, safe, or home run whenever you hit one. So it's a very minimal part of the game. So game 7 was up against the Oryx Blue Wave. If you're a baseball fan, you may recognize their first batter, Ichiro Suzuki. They were the best team in my league as they hadn't lost a single match yet. It was at this point I learned that in the real league, the team I picked was one of the worst teams in all of NPB. So that kind of sucks. One problem I was having is it felt really inconsistent to score in this game. I needed something to help me get runs more often. That's when I discovered the best way to cheese this game. In baseball, there's a technique called the squeeze bunt. If you have a runner on third base, you can have them steal home and then the batter bunts. When bunting, the catcher is usually the one who's able to field it the fastest. However, the catcher is also the person who has to cover home plate. So it creates this scenario where if the opposing team isn't prepared for it, you can get a run easily. And it works amazingly in this game. Usually the AI will even still try to throw you out at home even though you've already scored, so you don't even have to sacrifice one of your outs. From this point on, if I could just get someone to third base, I knew I would get at least one run for free. With this strat, I was able to get a hard-fought win against the Blue Wave 8-7. Game 8 against the Blue Wave again, it was neck and neck the entire time with no one scoring going into extra innings. In the 11th inning though, that all changed. I finally got someone on base and I went for the squeeze bunt, and man, it worked beautifully. The AI just couldn't handle it for some reason, like they were always throwing to the wrong place, and I ended up getting 5 runs in a single inning to take the win. Game 9, we were up against the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks. Compared to the Blue Wave, these guys are a pushover. I ended up tying them 7-7 in extra innings, but then something different happened. There was supposed to be one more game, but I think it was mathematically impossible for me to not get first at this point, so it showed like a celebration cutscene with my whole team out on the field. Then it shows a screen with some text saying I won my league, but now I needed to prepare myself for the championship. It ended up making me play the 10th match anyway, so I just sped through it since I couldn't lose at this point. And yeah, I lost the game 2-0, but like I said, it didn't matter. So now that the league was over, it was time for the final test, the championship series. We were in a best of 7 game series against the Yomiuri Giants. This was it, the final test for our team. Again, baseball fans may recognize their third batter, Hideki Matsui. That's right, he started right here in the NPB. No point in dragging it out. I took game 1 6-2, then I lost game 2 1-3, I lost game 3 as well 1-2. In game 4, we lost again 1-3. Like, it's not looking very good here. But then game 5 we won 3-2, and then we won game 6 7-5. It all came down to game 7. It was pretty close. In the 8th inning, I was winning 2-1. That's when I got a super clutch 2-run home run, and man, I just felt amazing. Like, it was so unlikely to lose after that, and I felt so good. And yeah, we did. We held them off, taking the series 4-3. What a close one. It shows the cutscene with your team all celebrating again. They're just all happy they've won the championship of the entire NPB. Then it shows an image saying like, hey, you're the best in Japan. Congratulations on winning the entire thing, or something like that. And yeah, that's it. Game complete. So there you have it. My journey to beating Power League 64. This game wasn't too fun to play, as a lot of these sports games aren't. It seems they went for a more realistic sports game, which probably looks so amazing back in the day, but nowadays it's just janky looking and it doesn't play too well. The more arcade style games age much better in my opinion. The only saving grace was the devs included that mini pennant mode, so it saved me dozens and dozens of hours. The graphics, they're not all that great, the music, it starts to drive you nuts, and the controls, they're not very intuitive in my opinion. I gave it a 1.5 out of 10 for enjoyability because it just wasn't that fun. It was really repetitive. Sports games, they're usually always better playing against a real player rather than the computer. And I gave it a 5 out of 10 for difficulty because it was kinda tough, even with the squeeze bunt strats. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, consider giving it a like as it does help the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here's a sneak peek at what is coming next. We have 346 games left. Yoshi's Story not the last game. What will we get? 3, 2, 1. 268. We are playing Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA.